How are you? Thank you for joining us today. My name is Erica, and I just want to remind you that this program is going to be recorded. So we're going to ask you to stay muted for the majority of the program. And then at the very end, when we have our activity, then you can unmute and we'll be able to talk freely. But we're going to record this program and it's going to go up on our YouTube page probably by the beginning of next week. So look out for that. And if you need to leave at any point, we understand. So you can, again, know that you can catch the rest of the program on our YouTube page. So thanks again for joining us. My name is Erica, and I'm one of the children's librarians here at the Berkeley Public Library. And this is our second installment in our Women in STEM series. We had S is for science. This month is T for technology. Next month is E for engineering. So we will have Karen Wang, who will come and talk about being a civil engineer. She builds or helps to design and build buildings and all other kinds of things like that. So you can sign up for that and find out about what that's like. Before we get started though, I would like to take a few moments to acknowledge that we sit on the unceded traditional lands of the Ohlone people. We honor with gratitude the land itself, as well as the Ohlone people who still live, work, and play in this region. The Berkeley Public Library condemns all forms of hatred, racism, and other forms of discrimination. We are outraged and saddened at the racism and violence that has been shown towards Asian American, African American, and Latinx communities, and we stand in solidarity with all marginalized peoples that have been subjected to hatred and intolerance and celebrate the differences that contribute to the strength of our community. Everyone is welcome here at the Berkeley Public Library. So now, without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Stephanie Moreno she is a student success specialist from Bitwise Industries. And in just a second, I will spotlight her video and you'll get to hear from her.
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for having us here. Like Erica mentioned, my name is Stephanie Moreno, and I'm from Bitwise Industries. We're located in Central California in Fresno, and we will also have a building there in Oakland. We will also be growing into Merced and Bakersfield, and recently announced into Toledo, Ohio. So we're quickly growing in the technology industry and coming into small communities all over the place, and what our co-CEO likes to call underdog cities, where folks may not necessarily think that they would find technology. So I'm super excited that you guys are here to learn a little bit more about technology. I have two people who are who are apprentices with us at Bitwise Industries. I have Jasmine Bonilla and Jenn Guerra, and they're going to be walking you guys through the question and answer in your activity today. So thank you so much for having us, Jenn and Jasmine.
Hi.
Hello. My name is Jenn, and it's very nice to meet you all and see you all. I'm an apprentice at Bitwise, or the School of Bitwise. And yeah, I actually was a massage therapist prior to getting into technology. So I'm kind of like a newbie, but Bitwise has been great in giving people a chance that maybe have never done any coding or anything like that. So I'm really grateful to be here.
Me too. Hi. I'm Jasmine. I worked for the county of Fresno, which Bitwise is in right now. And I didn't know anything about coding. So this whole experience has been a roller coaster and it's been really fun, and I'm just really excited to be here with you guys to chat with you a little bit about how you guys can get on this roller coaster with us too when you're a little older. So, or even now.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about how you ended up getting interested in technology?
Sure. I've always loved, when I was about 9, my dad brought home a Apple IIc computer, so a giant old computer, not like they have now. And I loved playing video games, playing like Oregon Trail and just funny games. And I wanted to be a computer programmer actually when I was about 9 years old. Then then what happened is I went through school and I decided to get into a different area. So I got into healing work, which is like massage and things like that. But then I got into technology. Like I'm 45 now, so it was about a year ago. 44 because of the pandemic, and actually Bitwise was hiring, so I was able to get on there, and I started going to school at Bitwise, and it's just been a great opportunity. So that's kind of how I got involved.
Yeah, I have a pretty similar story to Jen. We had our own family computer. I was very young too. I was less than 10 years old and I was on that thing 24/7. Like I would wake up instead of Saturday morning cartoons, I was on that computer. I was playing my Nancy Drew mystery games and I was on nickelodeon.com playing all the games that probably none of you have ever heard of and I had a blast. So you know, growing up when social media started happening, so there was MySpace and Zynga, which you guys have also probably never heard of, but you know, going into Facebook, things like that, you know, all of the kind of like technology, like make the things cute type of thing. Like I always really was interested in that. And last year also due to the pandemic is how I got involved with Bitwise because I never knew how to get into technology and Bitwise made it so easy. Um so I started with them and I was able to kind of make my dream come true of being able to get my foot in the door of coding. So it's been really fun. I'm really excited.
Excellent. And so, can you explain to the kids a little bit about what an apprentice does?
Sure. So an apprentice is someone who is learning, like going to school, and so we're luckily paid to learn part of the technology world. For instance, Jasmine and I are in inside sales, which is it's generating leads for companies within Bitwise. So we're working on that. We're basically just talking to a lot of people, making phone calls, and having fun doing that. So it's a 6-month period, and then we're evaluated at the end of the 6-month period. But it's been a great learning experience.
Yeah, we're learning from the masters at work. So
I think that's really interesting because usually when you think about technology, you don't realize that there's so much that goes into it, right? That there's jobs where you might be coding or you might be finding other companies and people to work with.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many opportunities in coding. If you try coding and you end up not liking it or not being good at it, which is totally okay, that happens. I'm not really good at coding, but there are so many other job opportunities and experiences within technology. You don't have to go all the way with coding, becoming a, you know, a coding master. Like me and Jen, we're in inside sales. We're good at selling the stuff that they make with coding, but you know, it coding is not the only way to get into technology, which is awesome. Mhm.
Are you able to say what some of the things are that they make with coding that you're selling? Or if it's private, you don't have to say.
There's apps for certain industries. So there's an app for like a bank, and there's an app for like real estate. So yeah, really the imagination, your imagination can run wild really. So in general, but yeah, with Bitwise they have their toes dipped in a lot of ponds.
Are you ready for some questions? If there's any questions in the audience?
Yes, sure.
Oh, and then I see a message from Stephanie. It says food service with order slip.
Yeah, and an app for ordering food, more for like mom and pop shops that don't already have apps, and it kind of works with all other existing apps too, like Postmates and stuff like that, but geared more towards the people that don't already have that existing technology. So yeah, and we have clients in Oakland and all over the US.
So how many people out there who are listening have used, or if you're adults, have used an app to order food recently? Yeah, me too. So yeah. So you do things that touch our everyday lives, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, here's a question from, and correct me if I say your name wrong, Ridiman? Okay. Oh, thank you. All right. Do you only do apps or do you do websites too?
There's a combination. They can do, I know Order Slip has an app, but it also has a website interface. So they can do both, or they can just do an app. So it's like custom work for whatever the client may need.
Do we have any other questions? We can explain, or not me, because I don't know how to explain it, but we could start in on our activity if we feel like we don't have any questions at the moment. And what we'll do is Jenn and Jasmine will explain how to do the activity. And then what we will do is I'm going to stop the recording so that we can unmute and you all can then participate fully in the activity and ask any questions that just come to mind. So as soon as after Jenn and Jasmine explain how to do the activity, I do remember one thing, that you want to make sure that you have some paper available. So some regular paper, or you can use Post-it notes, or I don't have any cardboard, but I do have like cardstock, which is like thick paper. It's like leftover from an old poster that we had. So you can make sure you have at least 4 pieces for our activity. Oh, you have some. Excellent. I see some people are holding up paper already. Excellent. You've come prepared. I love it. So I will stop talking and I will let Jenn and Jasmine explain the activity. And then for those of you who are watching this on YouTube, we will then have instructions for how to do the activity at home that we will attach to the recording or put in the description on our YouTube channel. And so then you can also do this at home. But right after they explain the activity, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording button so that we can talk freely. And so we will thank all the people in recording land for joining us.
Yeah, so we're really gonna break down kind of what coding is like. So your 4 pieces of paper is gonna represent a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So you're gonna have your slice 1. I actually printed some paper that looks like bread. So if you don't have something that's fancy like mine, that's okay. You can just write 1 on it, or you could write slice 1. And then your next piece of paper is gonna be your peanut butter. I printed out some peanut butter, but you can just write PB on it, or peanut butter, or draw a peanut on it. Anything that reminds you that that's peanut butter. And then your next piece of paper is going to be your jelly. So I printed out some jelly, but you can just put J on it, or jelly, or some grapes, or strawberry, whatever flavor jelly you like. And your last piece of paper is going to be your other piece of bread. So you can put slice 2 or just 2, whatever helps you remember that that is your second piece of bread. And then we're going to show you how coating is just like making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And then we did have some vocabulary words just to give you a little bit more of an idea of what coding is like. So, command is basically us telling the computer what to do. So, and it's just like how it sounds. We're commanding the computer, we're commanding whatever it is that we're trying to navigate. So, you can even create files or go to certain files by commanding them in your computer. And syntax is basically the set of rules that controls the structure of the symbols, punctuation, and words that you're entering into your code. And what does that even mean? So when you code, your things have to go in a certain order or else it won't work. So kind of like a language, your sentence kind of has to be written out in a certain way to sound, you know to be the right way that a sentence is structured. So and order, um just like a language. So order is kind of like when you're reading like a recipe. If you read your recipe out of order, if you follow the steps out of order, you're probably not going to end up with what you were trying to make, right? What you're trying to cook. Um, it's it's the way that the the coding is read. That's the order that it has to be read in order for the product to come out how you wanted it. So just like reading a recipe. Erica, did we want to do the whole thing?
Oh, yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye to our recording audience now. But those of you who are live with us, please stay on, and we'll see the rest of you later.